What is up, friends? I'm here singing Stone Temple Pilots, but let's talk about what's going on here with Palantir. Listen, I don't think there's already I've seen so many videos of people talking about Palantir, and I'm probably not going to say a lot of new stuff, but I'm going to, like, how I see things right here with Palantir. Here's kind of where I'm in the middle place here with Palantir. Listen, I think a lot of you know, I still think Palantir is undervalued for where it's going, okay? I think when we're talking about Palantir here, you need to think about long term, because there's still a lot of meat left on the bone here. I mean, like, we're talking dinosaur, mammoth, T-Rex bones here, okay? And that's what everyone's seeing here. And just the good news keeps coming. I mean, every 30 days, every month here with Palantir, it's like, boom, another big thing. Boom, another big thing. And then we're catching at least $10 to $12 on a monthly basis here with Palantir and growth. Listen, within 48 hours, we might be at 80 or flushing over $80 a share here with Palantir. That is a very real possibility that we're about to witness a new high. I mean, every week it's a new high here with Palantir. So with that conversation, Palantir has gone into the NASDAQ 100 edition. It's in there, and that's S&P, that's NASDAQ 100. It's in everything at this point. It's going in ETFs. It is officially part of the big boy gang here, and it's just more money pushed into Palantir. So it's very hard for people here that maybe are still saying bad things about Palantir and they don't believe in the success of Palantir. Listen, $100 is but the start of where we're going to be here with Palantir. Just getting to 100 is like not that big of a deal when you really think about the grand scheme of what is coming here. You know, we got Alex Karp, who's giving multiple interviews saying, you know, he's leaving breadcrumbs, essentially saying, like, listen, we have no competition, we have no ceiling, we have things coming here that people are not even aware of. There's a lot that's going to be coming here in 2025 with Palantir, so you have to be willing to say to yourself, 100 is but the start of what is coming here. By July of 2025, Palantir could be $150 here, okay? Like, I know that sounds crazy, but 6 months ago, we were saying $80. There were literally articles. There were these articles all over the place with these charts, graphs. People were spending crazy amounts of money on these analysts that they were making, and they were showing the projection of where Palantir was going to be in 5 years. And most of them were saying by next year, Palantir would be at $40. So then within 2 to 3 years, it would be at $80. Listen, we're obviously there. I mean, Palantir has beaten everyone's expectations at this point, okay? And there's still a lot more to come. So right now, with Palantir's prices right now, I think a lot of people, when you look at my super duper fancy chart right here, you'll see that some people have been in here $6, $7, $10. Some of you $12, $16, $12 to $30. Some of you, and then, you know, profits start to dwindle down a little bit here when we get to 50 to 70, but still, you're going to be in a Macaulay Culkin zone here probably within 6 months if you keep your positions where you're at right now with Palantir, if you're at the $50, $70 range. So with that right now, you know, me personally, I have Palantir at different price points. You know, I was buying Palantir, you know, back when it was, you know, like SoFi prices, when it was back at $8, when it was at $16. I remember when Palantir just not long ago went to $24, and we were like, oh, whoa, like this is huge. And then it just kept running here. So, you know, I've put these, I bought it at different patches at different places on different platforms. I think a lot of us have done this to have different, you know, places of Palantir right now. And I'm still buying Palantir. I buy Palantir every week, where I just buy a chunk of it and it's in a retirement, and boom, it's there, because I do believe the next 5 to 10 years Palantir is gonna be a, you know, $300 billion market cap stock. It may not even take that long. I mean, we may be in the trillions within 3 to 4 years here. I think that's very possible. So, you know, when we talk about market caps too, you know, I threw a few up here just so we could see kind of the genres and things we've been talking about here. You know, you got Microsoft, 3.33 trillion. You got Nvidia, obviously right under there, 3.9 trillion, the 29 trillion, and then you got Tesla, who's coming in right there, 1.37. Then we get to Palantir. Now we're in the billions. We're going to $173.21 billion market cap right there, and it's growing significantly. I mean, that's obvious here. And then you go to AMD here, which obviously a little more there, but AMD has a lot going on this year too. So with that, and then you get into SoundHound, and then, you know, talking about SoundHound's still a little guy out here, but SoundHound SoundHound within a few years here, I think a lot of us believe that SoundHound will be at a $100 billion market cap, at least $50 billion market cap. That's a very real possibility. So, and then Big Bear too, but Big Bear, that's like, I mean, that's just a little minnow in the pond that we're hoping for. If just for Big Bear to get to $1 billion market cap, that's going to be a big success with them, and they've got a lot to prove and a lot go on there. So, with the situation is that Tom Lee here has come out and said that he is very bullish on 2025, that he believes 2025 here is going to be a banging year. Wells Fargo came up, they released a statement saying they believe the S&P, the NASDAQ, all of it will break records once again this coming year, especially the S&P 500 will go over 7,000, if not at least hit 7,000 in some change here, they do believe, in 2025. Now, obviously, there's another side to that where a lot of economists are going, we believe there will be some kind of pullback. But even if there is some kind of pullback in the market, listen, as long as you're buying safe, growing companies, stocks here like Palantir, SoFi, even SoundHound, I think is getting in that category at this point, especially if we see more aggressive quarterlies coming up here soon. And even these ones I put up here, even some of them that are just boring to people like Microsoft. I think Nvidia is kind of getting in that realm where people are just like, Nvidia, they're making billions and billions of dollars. With that conversation, though, it's important to have your money in safe bets, especially going into uncharted waters of 2025. What's going to happen now? Obviously, I think regardless, it's going to be a good year for companies. It's going to be a good year for investors. And right now with Palantir, Palantir is in a very real situation from 45 days from now, especially after the inauguration. Palantir could switch into a triple-digit stock easily. This could turn into a $100 stock. So to me, with Palantir already have a market cap very close to, $200 billion, it's going to go into, a triple-digit stock here. So when we see these last quarterlies to wrap up 2024 here, which will be here in January with Palantir, this is going to be a conversation is, okay, their last quarterlies were the biggest they've ever had with everything. What if they do that again, but just a little bit more? Instead of the 30, it was 30+% they did on their earnings. Okay, what if they hit 35, 40, 45 more? This is what is going to keep sending Palantir into just unknown waters. And there's a lot to show and prove that could happen, because obviously Palantir, one of their biggest banks, their biggest feeding troughs here is their contracts with the government. And obviously they're in cahoots here with the Trump agency going into the administration here, going into these next few years. They're buddy, and they already have contracts with our people, so those contracts could continue but also get bigger. So that's just extra on top of the cake right here, and that's good to know. So Palantir being specialized in what it does as an AI company, software, however you want to put it here, going into the nuts and bolts of it, Alex Karp says this, we don't have any competition. We're so far ahead of the game. It's almost like a Tesla situation where you have all these other EV companies who are trying to do something, trying to catch up, but Tesla's so far ahead of the game. It's just, a lot of these other car companies, they can't compete when it comes to, they come close, they have good numbers, but it's nothing what Tesla's doing in the realm of their EVs. And Palantir is a lot of that conversation with what they do, and that's why a lot of attention has been going to Big Bear, because Big Bear and Palantir are they're similar in what they do, but Big Bear being just a completely new company with a lot of things that it needs to prove and get going. And if you're putting money in that, you need to understand the severity of it could work out, it could not work out situation. So friends, right here with Palantir, I look at this as the same conversation as when I was yapping my mouth yesterday about SoFi. I think you need to look at this as there's a lot to earn here if you're willing to put in the time. Palantir will work for you if you're willing to put in the time. If you're willing to put in 5, 10, 50, 100, 200 bucks a month, or a weekly, obviously be the better part there, would pay off more for you, putting how much capital you can afford in it. In 5 to 10 years, listen, you could have a whole new retirement fund. You could have a piggy bank full of money, that more than what your supervisors have, okay? This stuff happens all the time. I said this last night, but I said, think if you were buying Nvidia just 3 years ago, just 3-4 years ago, you were buying Nvidia. Think of what you would have done. Think if you were buying Tesla at that, 5 to 10 to, $100 a week. Think what that would be right now. That would be more than what people have in their retirement funds after working 10, 15, 20 years, depending how much capital you can put in there. With Tesla having splits, with especially Nvidia having splits in the growth. So you have to really think about what is coming here. But Palantir here holds such a special place because it's in range to a few years from now. We're going to have a split. This isn't a conversation of if. Palantir will have a split here in the future if it keeps going the rate it's going right now. Palantir will get to a place here where it is just far too expensive, and they'll say, hey, we got to do a split. And then maybe a few years after that, a handful of years, 5 years from that split, we could be talking about another split. This is how people become rich and wealthy in the market, okay? This is very much how these things happen here. So really think about where you want to be in Palantir going into the future. Palantir at this point, if you don't see and believe in the evidence that it's already showed, I don't know what more you need to see to believe in a good stock. And sometimes the juice is worth the squeeze, and sometimes it's just too good to be true. And that's what you're seeing right now with Palantir. So listen, everyone is bullish on Palantir. The people that are bearish on it are not really showing their face anymore. There was a lot of people that were saying Palantir was never going to go to 30, never going to go to 40, $50 was laughable and you were being made fun of. But when you saw the progression of what was coming, the deals, everything that was headed towards Palantir, it's finally showing proof of what is happening. The stock is running. It's not going to stop running here. I would not be shocked to see Palantir go into an $80 position by morning, if not very close into this week. So, friends, with all that said, I really do want to wish all of you the best of luck. And listen, friends, I've said this before, but I'll say it again. If you're just... some of us have different means of money, okay? It's the holidays, and some of us have $5, some of us have $500 to put in the market. Whether you have $500 or $5, you're in it. We're all in this together, and we're looking for places or avenues where we can put our funds and help our families, help ourselves, something for the future. I started with literally nothing in this market, okay? Years ago, I started with nothing, okay? Had nothing. But as I kept putting money into good positions, it kept growing. It kept just going. So don't be embarrassed if you got $5. Don't be embarrassed if you got $10. At least you're putting something in. At least you're doing something. Because 9 out of 10 people that you walk across in a day-to-day life, they don't know how to buy stocks. They don't know how much they even have in the retirement. They don't know how money goes in their retirement. They don't even know how to buy a stock. They're not even thinking about their future. They're not even thinking about retirement. They're not thinking about any things of that sort. They're thinking about what can I buy with my next paycheck that I won't even enjoy. Friends, if you take just a little bit of funds you have and maybe not buy a soda, maybe not buy a candy bar, maybe take $3, $5, $10, $20 and start putting it in a weekly fund, ETF for God's sake, something. Just grow your money. I guarantee you 5-10 years from now, you will thank God that you did it. I promise you. Friends, with all that said, it's Monday tomorrow. Let's see what this market holds here. I'm curious what these next 2 weeks are going to bring in the market. Feds will be talking this week. We're hoping for a rate cut. We'll see what we get. I suspect they will. If not, it could spell disaster. Friends, take care of yourself. Bye, everyone.